Hi. Okay. Take two on this, but hello. I'm Kim. I'm a 21-year-old college student, and I am a pagan. And this is the first video, hopefully of many, for my new YouTube channel dedicated to my spirituality and religious practice. And I'm making this channel because I have been inspired for a very long time by other pagan esoteric spiritual YouTube channels that are out there. Charlie Says Go is a really big mentor of mine. Tiptoe Chick, Flora Peterson, Karis Brown, some really amazing people out there making incredible videos that have really helped my progression through my spiritual journey, helped me learn things about myself, and I've just really kind of fallen in love with the community, and I wanted to contribute. I've been feeling a call to do this for a long time, maybe 6 months now, and I finally am really going in on it, so I'm really excited about that. Just following my intuition, and by doing this, I'm hoping for a few different things. I'm hoping to catalog and mark my progress as I move forward on my spiritual path, that I can look through my own channel and kind of have a running record of everything that I'm doing and thinking at different times. And, I think that spirituality is very fluid, and I'm excited to have records of what I'm doing and feeling at different times. And I think that it's really going to help me by having this to further where I am on my spiritual path. And I'm also hoping to learn from other people here, by sharing the things that I'm thinking and doing. I'm hoping that I can meet other people that, are connecting with what I'm saying, perhaps, are kind of vibrating on the same wavelength that I am. And I think that would be just a really positive experience overall. And hopefully, maybe, I'm not sure if this is in the cards for me, but if it is, I would love one day to become have one of the channels like the ones that I have been inspired by. I think that we all have something to teach people, and I'm certainly not assuming that I am better than anyone else or that I have more to say, but if by sharing my experience in public on YouTube, I can help anybody else or give someone to connect to or anything, then that would be just wonderful and certainly worth a while. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm sorry if I seem a little nervous. I've never done this before. So, for this introductory video, I wanted to do a couple things besides that initial part. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a background, my personal background of where I am and where I've come from on my spiritual path, and what you can expect from the channel. So I grew up in the Northeast, and I grew up in a Catholic household. My dad goes to Catholic Mass 5 days a week. I was in religion classes all throughout 10th grade, I think. I was confirmed. But at the same time, it wasn't, I think it might sound like I was in a really strict, stereotypical Christian household, but I really wasn't. It was a loosely Christian household. And what was good about it was that I realized early on that I was not connecting with what I was learning in the Christian church. I was being taught things that I didn't agree with. On big levels of issues dealing with homosexuality, women's rights, looking down on certain kinds of people, certain traditions, things like that, never resonated with me and never will. But I wasn't in a household where I was being told that I had to, obey every tenet. My dad is really the one that kind of emphasized the the Christian traditions, but he has always been, he's a really great guy, and he emphasized more of this place of love and acceptance, and kind of he takes and has always taken what worked with him for Christianity and left what didn't. So it wasn't like I was being forced necessarily to believe things. So while that was good on one level, I wasn't happy subscribing to a religion where even though I could say, okay, I believe in these things and not other things, I didn't want that. I wanted to be in a religion, have a spiritual path that I could resonate on all levels, resonate with on all levels. And then when I was maybe 12-ish, my mother, who has never been Catholic, she was Protestant, but she went with us to church. She went through kind of a spiritual awakening of her own and tried a lot of different, first Christian faiths, and then all kinds of different faiths. Finally settling on, I would call it loose Buddhism. She's a spiritual person who lives her life according to the broad tenets of Buddhism. But isn't a strict Buddhist. So I feel lucky that I had that because that kind of questioning and change was really encouraged in my family. And it was encouraged for my mom to do so, and kind of allowed me to go, oh, well, if she can do that, then maybe one day I can do that. And finally, when I was a sophomore in high school, we get to my introduction to paganism. I had a friend who informed me that he was a Wiccan and that he had been drawn into the religion by a friend of his that I wasn't really close with, who herself was Wiccan and very, very invested in her practice. And immediately I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. Wiccan, paganism, like what is it? And I spent all this time trying to learn from him, and I started reading books, any books that I could, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love the tradition. I love the things that it stands for. I really feel resonated to it, and I was able to kind of talk a little bit about it with his friend, who usually was very private with it, but she said that she felt that she and I connected in a certain way, and that she could tell that I was really going to respect what she was saying, which was really nice and very much appreciated to this day, because the information that she gave me kind of started my path on researching. So spent a few years reading everything I could, learning about it, but still, because of my Catholic guilt, which I have overcome now, thank goodness, but was not able to do anything. I was not allowing myself to take any steps forward in my path until my freshman year of college, where I was able to overcome that and start practicing myself on a Wiccan path at the time, which was very wonderful to start practicing. And as soon as I did, I got way more invested in it, realized that I was on the right path, but wasn't quite there yet. Which kind of brings me to now. In the few years since then, I have gone away from a strictly Wiccan path and now consider myself eclectic pagan, which, for anyone who doesn't know, eclectic pagan to me means that I pull from lots of different paths of different pagan traditions. And I use pagan as a term of any non-Abrahamic tradition. So the main things that I pull from are Wicca and Buddhism. But I think Kemeticism, Druidry, lots of different paths have little pieces here and there in my craft. And I know that can be kind of controversial to some people, but it has worked wonderfully for me. I'm creating the path that I want to live, that feels right to me, that just in my heart, in the vibration of my body, I am living a path that feels right to me, and I have never been happier or more confident in what I'm doing. So that is where I am now. So a little bit more specific about my path, where I might be similar to, I would say, a lot of other pagans, although that's kind of hard to say because we are a very eclectic group. But I have a strong reverence of nature. and the cycles of life in particular. I observe the 8 holy days, the Esbats and Sabbats, and I believe in a divine force. And I don't want to go into the specifics of that yet. I kind of drafted up what I was going to do for this, and I realized that that should be its own video. So I'm not going to do that. But I will get to that in probably the next video and explain my stance on how I see and personify in some ways the divine force that I call totem. But where I might be a little bit different from other pagans on YouTube or in the world is that rather than my focus being primarily on nature, I am a primarily spiritual and energetic worker. My practice is primarily focused on my life force energy, the connection between all things, and the aura, energetic work, spiritual work. So it's certainly more energy-based than nature-based. And I can explain, I'll probably explain a little more of where I'm coming from on that in another video as well. So that's where I am in my spiritual journey. That's where I've come from. Maybe some of you can relate. And for what you can expect from this channel. I hope that you're enjoying this so far, and I'd love for you to subscribe. And if you do, here's kind of what you can expect. I'm going to be doing lots of videos covering pretty much every aspect of my paganism and spirituality. So that sounds like a really big undertaking. But just for example, I wrote down a couple of examples of things that I would love to do. A video on my ritual practice, how I set up rituals, spell and intention crafting, field reports of things that I'm trying and going out and doing, and things that worked for me, didn't work for me, things on divination, because I'm very interested in divination. That kind of goes under my category of spirit and energy work. How I live my practice day to day, because I don't cast a full circle and have major rituals every day. So I know that I'll be talking about how I live the path between big ceremonies and events. Talking about any relevant topics that might come up, taking any requests if they are there. Basically covering everything that comes up for me in my path. That's what I'm going to plan to do on my channel. What there will not ever be on my channel, there will never be hate, there will never be judgment, and there will never be talking down other religions of any kind. I believe that everybody has their own path, and my path is right for me and might not be right for anyone else in the world, and that is 100% fine. And on that path, I will never ever preach that my way is the only way, the one way, because I don't believe that, like I just said. I'm here to share my experiences. You know, if anyone takes something from them, that's great, and if nobody does, that's okay too, because this is a great learning experience for me. So I promise, Boy Scout promise, I think that's that, that I will never be doing that. So I think that's all I have to say right now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you subscribe to my channel to join me on this beautiful spiritual path. So blessed be. Namaste.